Hello and welcome to week 5 of our PSPA 303X state and local government course. We're 5 weeks in now, and appreciate all of the hard work. I've seen submissions and quality of writing improve over the weeks, and I just appreciate that effort. And I want to hush, baby, and want to just keep us on that trajectory, keep us going on the right track. Things are going well. So we're on to modules 9 and 10. And these two modules, chapters 6 and 7, where we're talking about the governor, uh, uh, the chief executive at the state level, and then talking about the court systems. So some interesting, discussion questions, writing assignments for these particular topics. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys submit. I just wanted to share some of my experience and perspective working in the way that I do with these two topics. As it relates to the governor, as I've shared before, I work with the state government, Illinois Office of Minority Economic Empowerment. And, I like how the governor's power was outlined in terms of agenda setting, legislative and budget power, direct policy making, and appointments and reorganization. So a lot of what I do working to support businesses is in line with a plan that the governor of Illinois advanced, a 5-year economic plan. You can find that all over the internet, Governor Pritzker's 5-year economic development plan for the state. He has identified a number of industries, certain segments of the population and communities that he wants to support, and tactics for creating jobs and creating businesses. Or hush, baby. And that's an agenda. He set an agenda. He shared that with the public. He shared it with the legislative body. He took a tour around the state, using that bully pulpit in the media to raise awareness for his agenda. And that's the work I do, trying to help pull together leaders and communities across the state, resources that the state has access to and local governments do, to make sure that growth is being experienced in all levels of the state. So that's just an important piece on agenda setting, the governor's power as it relates to agenda setting. And another piece around direct policy making, that executive orders. So right now we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and the state of Illinois is kind of a hotspot right now. I want to say the governor used his executive order power to on March 21st, and has extended an executive order in subsequent weeks and weeks around a stay-at-home order and shelter-in-place guidelines, public health guidelines to try to mitigate the spread of the pandemic. So initially, it was the stay-at-home order. He identified certain businesses as essential and non-essential, and outlined ways that commercial activity could take place in a safe way as it relates to public health. So that has since been adjusted in subsequent executive orders. And now he has this framework called Restore Illinois, where all of us can go take a look at that right now. The state of Illinois is broken down into 11 regions, and each region tracks public health data to determine how to restrict or expand commercial activity in an attempt to keep citizens safe and stop the spread of the pandemic. So all of that kind of started with an executive order as of March 21st, where the shelter in place or stay at home order was handed down. And then you'll see these ongoing press conferences where he answers questions and things like that. All that is related to that power to establish a standard or set an agenda in that way. And I also thought, I'm big on leadership, and power is one thing. There's formal and official powers that are related to a position, and then there's power that people have personal power. It was referenced as leaders. And I thought it was important that maybe, give me 1 minute, okay, almost done. How the varied constituencies were discussed um, for the governor and for local leaders at the mayoral level. So, expectations are one thing, why aren't people getting things done? But I think it's important that we all understand, studying local government and state government, the constituencies that leaders have to serve. And in their formal capacity, these constituencies require different things of us, and we have to perform these tasks. But then there's something special about some people who are leaders that can motivate and inspire people to help advance their vision. And that's the piece of leadership that's so interesting to me. And a lot of the people who I find to be role models in my life, or people who I study, or ancestors who have come before me, these are people who have a way of motivating and inspiring people to help achieve goals. I think when we think about these varied constituencies and what power local government leaders and state government leaders have, um, that's something that we can think about for ourselves as well. How do we see ourselves contributing to goals taking place in our constituencies, and what personal power we bring to the work that we do. Have a seat, big girl. Have a seat. Um, I work at the city level with a mayor who has strong powers. I don't think the lecture spoke on this much, but also served as a intern for the village of Glen Ellen, Illinois, where there was a weak mayor and a city manager. So that's an interesting way that local governments are organized. You have a strong mayor or a weak mayor, um, and a lot of the same powers that the governor has around budgets and agenda setting, and some executive order powers are had at the city level too. So we touch on some of that in that lecture, and thought that was interesting to see. On the judicial side, I work as an administrator in the bureaucracy. So, I don't work on the judicial side, but, as citizens, it's important for all of us to understand the makeup of the judicial system in the courts. Just having been alive for some time, I've interacted with traffic court and family court, and even some business matters, my own business holdings, dealing with the courts. Thought it was interesting how they talked about how civil courts are acting as referees, and then criminal courts bring charges, and how the state of Illinois is unique and inside of the national federal system. So some really good content and some good information to consider during week 5, modules 9 and 10. So as always, keep the effort high. I appreciate the effort, quality in writing, being concise and thorough, answering the questions. And there's no substitute for putting the work in, reading the content, answering the questions thoroughly. If you ever have concerns, feel free to shoot me an email. We're getting closer to the end, and grades are starting to clarify. So if you got questions about any grading or grades, feel free to shoot me a note. Happy to be a resource as always. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Say bye-bye, Ribby.